Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Coffee and Football, presented by Adam Lowy and the Lowy Law Firm. I'm your host, Blake Monroe, where I'm joined by Bobby Burton, who's there at Ohio State, and the shaded Jerry Hamilton. Got his gooders on.
College football season officially gets going tonight, so joy mode for everybody.
Well, hey, tell us where you're checking in from, what you're drinking, get your questions in. We're also 2 days away. That's absolutely crazy to say. 2 days away from kickoff. So tell us who your favorite number 2 is. There's a lot of twos, a lot of good.
There's a lot to choose from.
Yeah, so we'll circle back to that. And real quick, guys, I wanted to say this weekend on Saturday, we got the game day schedule. Saturday Conversation is going to come out at 7 a.m. The pregame tailgate at 9 a.m. Watch with us. We'll start at 11. And then, of course, the live postgame will be immediately following the game. So as you can see there on the screen, we got you covered all day, through most of the day, Saturday for kickoff. So be sure.
And I want to say thank you to Tito. If you pull that back up, Thank you to Tito's, new sponsor this year for our season. South Point, again, Von Lane, again, Yingling Flight, those guys again. So thank you to all those guys that make all this happen for all the Texas fans out there. Yeah,
for sure. Well, Bobby, you're on site out there. It looks nice out there. I was actually looking at the weather for Saturday, and it says good weather for the game and tailgating. So that's a good sign. But it looks very comfortable out there this morning.
Well, you asked everybody where they're checking in from. I'm in Columbus, OHIO right now. This is Ohio Stadium behind me. I've been trolling around campus a little bit this morning. Went and ate at a place called the Hangover Easy. Local breakfast joint here in town. Ohio State's got a really pretty campus, guys, once you get on campus and into it. Wonderful spot here, and it is football weather. I mean, I woke up this morning, I had to put on this pullover right here, and it is, when I got out of my car this morning to start filming this segment, it was 59 degrees this morning. It's up to 62 now, but it is literally football weather, and as you can see there, on Saturday, 48 hours roughly from today, from right now, it's expected to be more of the same. Very sunshiny here and just absolutely gorgeous. And I tell you what, there's not going to be a better setting for college football to kick it off this whole season than right here where I'm standing, just literally 200 yards away from where hopefully Arch Manning leads the Longhorns to victory.
Have you seen where the Fox Big Noon and College Game Day setups are going to be yet?
They don't start doing that, Jerry, because I got some media information on that. Actually, they don't start doing that till later today. But okay. I did see it. I put a post. I put a picture up on Texas football. I took some photos around Ohio Stadium this morning, and the last photo I posted is where Big Noon Kickoff, ESPN Game Day, those kind of places are going to be, which is the opposite end, by the way, of where all the tailgates will be. So it's kind of interesting how they're going to have that set up, but. Anyways, really interesting campus. I think, I drove through Columbus. I got in last night, and this place is really similar to Austin in a lot of ways. Major university campus, big research area, yet it's still 1 million plus people in the metro area. Fairly affluent town, I would say. A lot of to me, it reminds me a little bit of Austin. I got to tell you, with these big impact state universities that are marquee in their state. So I feel like it's going to be an interesting matchup, not just in football, but it's going to be a clash altogether. I will say this, I wore my Texas gear this morning to breakfast, and I did not get a word from any Ohio State fan quite yet, although the waitress did have a little something to say to me. So it's
probably because they're all in the chat. Where's Mellows? Mellow 7. And
I love it. I love it. No, seriously, this has been. I really like Ohio. It's all red brick building campus. There are some outliers, maybe some older kind of brutalist architecture where it's that concrete siding, but most of it's red brick and really pretty campus.
And by the way, we are bring your questions to the chat. We're starring them. We're going to take a lot of questions a little bit later in the show, but we are looking at all you guys' questions, and we're going to answer as many as we can today.
Woo.
And here in a little bit, we're going to have Kevin Noon of Buckeye Huddle joining us probably in about 10 minutes. And then Will Matthews will join us after that. So 2 great guests today. Let's see here, guys. I wanted to look at the odds. I did notice this morning that a couple of books now have Ohio State as a 1-point favorite. Most of the major ones still 1.5, over under still 47.5. But that line definitely fluctuating because, we saw 2.5 to 2 to 1.5. And now, like I said, some of them actually at 1 as of this morning.
Yeah, that's going to move around. I'm really the over under is what I'm watching. And again, that 47.5 number, it hasn't moved off of that. I'm not the betting guy like some people are on here, but I keep watching that over under. I know there's been a lot of money on the under, especially when that was 48.5. So that's kind of what I'm watching. Everybody seems to be sticking on the same thing. This is going to be a lower scoring football game. Look, that doesn't mean there can't be some crazy plays that could change the course of the over under, but I think that's what it's going to take. I don't think either team's going to sit there and have long drives up and down the field and teams are going to be scoring 28 and 35 points in this game. I don't think that's what's going to happen. There's not enough possessions when teams are this talented on defense. But that over-under is still what I'm looking at. Somebody in the chat asked if I'm traveling. I don't do many away games. I go to the home games, but I'll be at Cosi Paula. I got high school football stuff. I'm going to go see Cosi Paula tonight. We got to cover those guys that are headed to Texas and some Texas targets. So I'll be watching Cosi Paula tonight. We'll talk about the high school season starting a little later today.
Yeah, CJ Vogel will join me up here tomorrow. Marcus Myers, newcomer to on Texas football, former Texas Longhorn, will be up here later today. He'll join us tomorrow afternoon, of course, at the tailgate, or not tailgate, but the happy hour we're having at Gresso's. Please join us there if you get a chance. The only thing I would say about that narrowing point spread, Jerry and Blake, is this. We've spent so much of this time as Texas Longhorn fans, right? And much of the nation because of his pedigree, Arch Manning, and focusing on Arch Manning. From a national perspective, has there been as much focus on the new Buckeye quarterback? I mean, is he ready to go? A lot of people are saying, well, what's Arch Manning going to do? Buckeye fans, they're worrying similarly about Julian Sayin. They have a lot of toys around him that are certainly fantastic, but that may be why the line's tightening. I don't know. It may just be Texas big money guys putting some money down on the Longhorns right now. You never know about Vegas.
I think, look, there's been Arch articles every day on ESPN this week, essentially, right? This is all builds up perfectly for Ohio State from that perspective. Arch is getting all the attention. Texas is getting all the attention. Ryan Day's like, hey, we're defending national champions. We're not getting any respect. All people want to talk about is Arch Manning. All right, defense, go show them why they should have been talking about. It all sets up perfectly for Coach the way he can communicate with his team and motivate those guys. If you need motivation in this game, you may have issues, but it's still, just remember all the buildups to these games we've seen in the past. The teams that get all the attention, how great the players are, who gets all the attention, that helps the other team. So all this stuff leading up to this game does help Ohio State, in my opinion. Gino Valenzuela, hook him from Galveston, Texas. By the way, I'll be speaking at the Texas X's Galveston at Nick's at noon today. I wanted to mention that. Look forward to seeing all you guys down there. I do that every year.
All right, before we go to the next – I'm sorry, Blake.
No. I was just going to say real quick, we have a lot of people asking about Bevo making the travel to Columbus. He is not traveling to Columbus. So
no, he's going to be at Cosi Paula's game with me tonight. They're going to take Bevo to the high school games of recruits this year. That's smart recruiting. They're not. They should.
They're going to put him on the coach's copter. He's going to get out.
That's actually a really smart recruiting idea, Sark, if you're listening. I know you don't have anything better to do, but if any of the recruiting people, Taylor Searles, anybody listening, I just came up with a great idea for y'all. Bevo at high school games where commits are. That's what I'm here for, guys. Reads.
You're
and
suddenly
ideas.
the enemy of every Texas high school football coach across the state.
That's why I'm not on your show, Blake.
All right, Bobby, if you don't mind, tell us about Adam Lowy and the Lowy Law Firm.
Yeah, sure will. Adam and the Lowy Law Firm have been helping injured Texans for 20 plus years. If you've been injured in a car wreck, truck wreck, automobile accident of any kind, from ATV to 18-wheeler, and think you might be due compensation, reach out to Adam and his team for a free, no strings attached consultation. They'll let you know whether or not they think you might be due some money. Again, that's loweylawfirm.com. Adam celebrating 3rd year sponsoring On Texas Football. Guys, we could not do this. I couldn't be up here in Columbus without our sponsors, so we appreciate them very, very much.
Also, Jerry, not to foil your plan or rain on your parade, live mascots are not allowed in the state of Texas.
Well, could they be on the adjoining baseball field
at a high school stadium? They're not.
According to Carl Padilla,
Carl Padilla would know.
Yeah, he said live mascots are not allowed in Texas. And
wow.
If there's one person I trust to know that, it would be him.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah, very interesting. Well, Bobby, this morning you posted over on Texas Football, a little Texas news that I think folks would like to hear from you. So I'm going to let you take it away.
Yeah, absolutely. We broke some news yesterday at ontexasfootball.com, and I think Jerry had a video out about it. We're hearing Connor Stroh may be starting the starting left guard for the Longhorns for this game. Stroh had started off fall camp at right guard, but about a week into it, they flip-flopped him and Nate Kibble from right guard to left guard. And the reason they did that actually was because Andre Kojo at right tackle went down with that early injury, and they wanted to cross-train multiple people at left tackle and right tackle. And they moved Nick Brooks to right tackle, and that meant they needed another backup at left tackle. So they tried Nato Umeozulu at left tackle. When they did that, that pushed Stroh into the first team unit at left guard, and Stroh went on to have a tremendous fall camp, is what I'm hearing, and he could very well be your starter game 1 at left guard over Nato. Trevor Gooseby also still trying to heal from a hand injury 2 weeks ago. We'll see if he's able to go 100% against the Buckeyes, but some late movement on the offensive line. People are asking me and Jerry both whether or not we think this is good or bad. Here's what I say. I mean, look, you have fall camp to find your top 5 on the offensive line. That's why you have fall camp. If Connor Stroh won that job, then more power to him. You're trying to find your best 5 in fall camp. If he is that, then I think that's a good sign. That means somebody came up and stepped up and took a job.
Yeah. So look, Connor Stroh. He was an interesting prospect coming out of high school. He was a powerlifting guy, but he was the largest of large humans, right? And the biggest battle, I think, obviously everybody has to develop technically, right? But he had to get his weight down. And he's just such a big guy. That's been a battle for him. And he's finally in the 345 range. He was at 375, 380 for a long time at Texas. And it's taken him a while to get that body to where it needs to be. I think so. He has enough foot quickness, body quickness, reactive quickness that he needs, shedding those 40 pounds, continuing to reshape his body. One of the strongest players of the program. And look, the one thing is Sark is transparent without coming out and just saying it. When he mentioned Monday that Connor Stroh had a great camp, that was his subliminal message to everybody, I think. That was his way of being transparent without coming out and saying it. And I think that's what we're saying. We also continue to hear that Grayson Littleton has been really, really good and is really, really pushing, and we're going to see him a lot Saturday as well.
Oh, well, I think our first special guest is here, Kevin Noon of Buckeye Huddle. Kevin, how's it going this morning?
Doing great. Thanks for having me on the show.
Hey, Kevin, long time no see, man. We used to work together back at Rivals back in the early 2000s. Kevin, I'm up here in your country, Columbus, as you can see, Ohio Stadium in the background. Kevin, got to ask you, what's top of mind right now for the Buckeye fans as the Longhorns head to Columbus?
I think Ohio State fans are most concerned with about quarterback play, and maybe not so much about Texas's quarterback play with Arch Manning, but Ohio State quarterback play with Julian Sayin. Last time Ohio State was on the field, Will Howard was out there, somebody who had a lot of experience at K-State before coming to Ohio State. And, you have the natural reaction of wanting to expect the guy who comes in afterwards to just like pick up where the other guy left off. This is game one. This is his first start. This is his first meaningful action. It's going to be a little bit of a different speed. It's going to look a little bit different. We watched week 0 football over the weekend. I mean, it was a little wonky. I think that there is the very real chance that things are going to be wonky. So I think with Julian saying that's where a lot of eyes are going to be. I mean, I could get into dovetail into all these other points, but to a man, pretty much everybody's asking me about quarterback play.
So I was going to ask you about something else, Kevin. Obviously, Ohio State's very talented on the defensive front, but where are you at as far as the defensive front goes, especially the interior guys? Because some of the talk is like the talk around Texas has been offensive line injuries. Is the offensive line, what are they going to look like in week 1? I think for Ohio State, it's been, all right, lost Tyler Williams, a couple of other really good guys. Edric Houston, obviously, is a talented young player. But where do you see the interior of Ohio State and that depth going into this game?
Ohio State would definitely love to have Hero Kanu back just to add some depth. He ended up obviously transferring to Texas in the offseason. Ohio State's thin on the interior defensive line. Once you get past Caden McDonald, they're 1 tech. Once you get past Edric Houston, they're 3 tech. They've got guys like Will Smith Jr., they got Jason Moore. They have some guys, but it gets really thin in terms of meaningful snaps once you kind of look at guys past the first team. So that's a big concern because at edge, they're probably in better shape. Kenyatta Jackson, Caden Curry, they go in the portal, pick up Bo Atkinson from Carolina. They've got some guys there, but are you going to get 50 snaps, especially out of a 300-pounder like Caden McDonald? I don't know. So, I mean, they're going to need some of their younger guys to step up into roles. And, Ohio State is not opening against Grambling. Ohio State is not opening against Ohio University. It's opening against Texas. So there's so little room for error here. And as we've seen in major college football, it just takes that much of a crack in the line. Just not necessarily hitting your spot, and it's 88 out the gate. So it's going to be interesting.
Let's talk about the strengths of the Ohio State team. Obviously, from looking from afar, it's the offensive skill position, particularly at receiver, Kevin, that kind of and tight end even as well. That seems like it's a tough matchup, not just for Texas, but all of college football. You start with Jeremiah Smith, and everybody knows him. Tell us a little bit more about the other pieces of that puzzle on the Ohio State offense.
Well, once you get past Jeremiah, the number 2 receiver, who would be number 1 receiver, 115 universities probably, is Carnell Tate. Oregon really tried like crazy to get Carnell Tate to go over there. I'm sure their pitch was quite lucrative, but Carnell Tate sticks with the Buckeyes. I mean, he's kind of a do-everything receiver. Carnell Tate was able to feast a little bit more in the CFP semifinal game because Texas did such a good job of taking Jeremiah Smith away. Then once you get to the number 3 receiver, then some questions arise. Yeah, Brandon Ennis, who was named a team captain. I mean, he certainly has the abilities, but has not necessarily been utilized. Let's not forget that Emeka Ibuka was the number 2 receiver last year, was the number 1 until Jeremiah kind of just took it away from him. Yeah. And he's with Tampa Bay now. I mean, he's in the NFL, and by all accounts should have a wonderful rookie campaign with the Buccaneers. So do you look there? Do you look at the former 5-star Milot Graham out of Fort Wayne, Indiana? He's somebody who could kind of step into that role. You got Bryson Rogers, who was maybe a little underrated. He was at a newer high school, Wiregrass Valley or something like that.
Wiregrass Ranch, Grayson Littleton, Texas true freshman from there. Yep.
Right. So, I mean, maybe he got slept on a little bit. And then, Ohio State also under Brian Hartline still recruiting for this staff. So they're still bringing in a lot of talent. But I think that Carnell Tate is the guy that everybody needs to keep an eye on when they're not watching Jeremiah. And I think that Brandon Ennis is probably your number 3, but I think we could see some Bryson Rogers mixed in there. With Mylan Graham, he redshirted last year. He was a summer enrollee, which now it feels like when you're a summer enrollee, you're just so late to the game. He just never really had an opportunity, but the talent is there.
Hey, Kevin, who is returning kicks and punts for the Buckeyes? Do we know that?
They could just put a jugs machine out there because they don't really. I mean, they were like 130 in the nation in kickoff returns. I mean, they may as well just sit there and have somebody out there just fair catching all the time. Last year we saw a lot of Emeka Ibuka. I mean, we could see some of the the younger guys out there returning. We saw toward the postseason last year, we saw Caleb Downs out there, and I think everybody collectively held their breath. But once again, it's a case of just don't have that sudden change. Don't put the ball on the ground. Have faith that the offense is going to get you moving. You don't take a high risk play to gain 6 more yards of field position.
Kevin, what about the kicking game for the Buckeyes? I'm sorry, Jerry, I can't tell if you're trying to break in, but the kicking game, punt, kicker, what's that look like for Ohio State?
Right. Kicking has been kind of an issue for Ohio State through the last couple of years. They went out and they picked up a kicker in the portal, but they would like Jaden Fielding to continue being the kicker at this point. That way you can redshirt the transfer, have, I think, 2 more years with him at this point. He's pretty good inside of 42, 43 yards or whatever, but everybody's going to remember some of the missed kicks along the way and just the issues that happened there, certainly in the Michigan game. When it comes to punting, they've got a couple of Australians. Joe McGuire is ahead, in my opinion, of Nick McClarty. McClarty can just kick the living tar out of the ball, but he doesn't know what he doesn't know. Hang time, some things like that. By all accounts, light bulb is coming on. He's doing better. It's still, quote unquote, an open competition, but I would expect to see McGuire out there.
Hey, Kevin, is there a couple of names out there outside of the marquee names for Ohio State that Texas fans should know? Is it a CJ Hicks? Is there somebody that you guys are hearing coming on in fall camp? Maybe he's going to have a much bigger role in this team this year that Texas fans should know going into Saturday.
You did your research. CJ Hicks is the name I would have probably come out with because he, 5-star linebacker, just never was able to break through the depth chart. Just was always behind guys. Ohio State certainly has had some talented linebackers, maybe not to the point of having the Katzenmoyers and the AJ Hawks that they've had through recent years, but they slide him down to edge. I'm really curious, along with everybody else, to see how much we see him if he's in the rushman package when they bring in four edges to just come after the quarterback, or if he's really out there a lot more. He's kind of an X factor because when I talk about Jackson and Curry and Atkinson, Hicks is still not a name that I'm necessarily comfortable throwing out there, but I guess I should be because they really seem to love what he has been able to do there. I would also go into the secondary, and I would say safety Jalen McClain out of New Jersey. He's somebody that they really like. I mean, he's been in a position battle with Malik Hartford all offseason. I mean, obviously nobody's going to take over Caleb Downs' spot, but for the other safety position, it's been back and forth and back and forth. I think McClain has the edge right now. He's somebody that's fun to watch. And then, on the offensive side, not necessarily a position that we all look at. Left tackle Austin Sareveld. I mean, he was supposed to be in the mix at right tackle, messes around, gets named the starter at left tackle. So obviously he's doing something right. So what does that mean at right tackle? Is it Phillip Daniels, the former Minnesota offensive lineman? Is it Ethan Oniawa, the Rice transfer? Right now it sounds like it's Phillip Daniels, but I'm going to be watching that because Ohio State's like, well, we got 6 or 7 offensive linemen that are game ready. That's all well and good. Are you going to ride with the 5 you feel best with, or are you going to sit there and try and keep up this charade of keeping everybody happy? I mean, you can keep people happy against Grambling. You just need to keep it going in a game like this in 1 versus 2.
Last thing we have for you, Kevin, and thanks so much for joining us, is 2 or 3 keys for an Ohio State victory And we got to get your score prediction. Remember, there's Ohio State fans on here, so you can't.
Well, the keys to victory, I mean, I could go with the obvious ones. Don't turn the ball over, win the turnover battle, et cetera, et cetera. An interesting thing is I went through the last 4 times these two teams played. Texas is averaging less than 100 rushing yards, and Ohio State's averaging like 118. So neither team has ever really been able to run the ball. I mean, and in the Texas numbers certainly had a lot of Jamal Charles in there, just based on the time that the teams played each other. But I think Ohio State needs to get out there. I think it needs to establish the run. Now, that doesn't mean that I think Ohio State has to go for 175 yards. That's not necessarily been the MO of this series. Granted, what does 05 and 06 have to do with 25? Not a darn thing. But get out there, establish the run. You got to speed Arch up. You'd love to get home and sack him 5, 6, 7 times. I don't know if that's necessarily realistic. I mean, certainly the word filtering up around here is that the Texas offensive line may need a little bit of time for seasoning, is kind of the way that it's being put. Speed him up. Don't let him get out there and tear you apart. But conversely, if you do speed him up and plays break down, remember, he was the running quarterback last year, so he's got some mobility. So don't let him beat you with his legs. And I think on the other side, give Julian Sand enough time for recognition out there, because everything is going to speed up. I mean, this is not even a Big Ten game of playing Rutgers or Maryland or UCLA or whatever. This is a big boy game. When it comes down to a score, I feel more comfortable in saying take the under. I just really think that, early season football, unders come home a lot more. I've kind of gone round and round. I've had this as a 4-point game. I've had it in both directions, but I did submit my pick yesterday. It won't air until Friday, but when it's all said and done, I think that this is a game very much into the fourth quarter. We see a really low scoring game at halftime. Maybe, there's some adjustments in the second half to free up a score here or there, but I'm taking Ohio State 21-17.
Woo! Boo! Boo!
I can't give you a different score than the one that I'm publishing.
Yeah. Thanks, Kevin. Good to hear.
Thanks, Kevin.
Thanks for coming on. Kevin Noon, Buckeye Huddle. We appreciate you very
Great
much.
Job, man. Loved it.
Thanks, guys.
Appreciate it.
All right, good stuff. Good stuff.
Hey,
by the way, he's on top. He does a great job. He's on top of the team he covers. That was a great job.
Yeah. All right, we have a super chat here I want to get to. Jerry, you might grab a lampshade.
I don't have time, man. We were interviewing somebody.
Seth, thank you for the big super chat. We definitely appreciate you. He says, Bobby, is it true that you rooted for Tech alongside Jenny that one time she was rooting for them? And on a more serious note, does the cooler weather allow for Texas to play faster and play more snaps after the brutal heat in camp? Bobby, you're obviously up there in Columbus with that cooler weather, so I'm gonna let you answer all of this one.
So I'm gonna take the more despicable part of this question. I have never rooted against Texas in my life. True story. The game against Tech, when Crabtree caught the extra pass, or caught the final pass, my wife had went to sleep at halftime, so it's me and my dad watching the game with all kinds of rolling emotions. Right? She wakes up for the final drive.
Smart Tech fan.
For those unaware, my wife was not really a football fan, but she did go to Tech Law School. And so that is the last time she's rooted for Tech, by the way. She's now a Texas fan through and through. But anyways, on a more serious note, does the cooler weather allow Texas to play faster? I think it may allow both teams to play faster. I'm sitting up here on a rooftop right now. This is Ohio Stadium behind me. Obviously, it was 59 degrees when I got out of the car this morning. It's up to the low 60s right now, so it is absolutely cooler weather here. And I would say this, Kevin Noon just talked about them having a 300-pounder that can't do 50 snaps. Well, it's easier to do 50 snaps in 60-degree or 65-degree weather than it is in 105.
Yeah.
And so we'll see if that does have an effect on the bigs as much as it does any other position. I don't think the wide receiver room of either team's going to have an issue, or the running back room, etc. But the bigs on both sides of the ball, it could be an issue. And thank you, Seth, for the super chat. Appreciate you.
Yes, thank you, Seth. Sorry I didn't have the lampshade, guys.
All right. Well, now, Bobby, I need you to tell everyone this morning about Mint Mobile.
Yeah, absolutely. You know what doesn't belong in your epic summer plans? Getting burned by your wireless bill. While you're planning beach trips, barbecues, and 3-day weekends for Texas football games like this weekend, your wireless bill should be the last thing holding you back. That's why you can make the switch to Mint Mobile. It's a wireless plan I sent my son off to college with. With Mint, you can get the coverage and speed you're used to, but for way less money. And for a limited time, Mint Mobile is offering 3 months of unlimited premium wireless service for $15 a month. So while your friends are sweating over data overages and surprise charges, you'll be chilling literally and financially. This year, skip breaking a sweat and breaking the bank. Get a new customer offer, your 3-month unlimited wireless plan for just $15 a month at mintmobile.com/ontexas. That's mintmobile.com/ontexas. Upfront payment of $45 is required. Limited time new customer offer for first 3 months only. Speeds may slow above 35 gigabytes on unlimited plan. Taxes and fees extra. See Mint Mobile for details. Thank you for sponsoring On Texas Football.
And then, Jerry, I need you to tell everyone about one of our newer sponsors.
Oh, yeah.
City Store.
Look at these pictures now.
Hey, City Store, been there a couple of times. Look forward to going back this season with a good buddy that I grew up with, Jason Watts, who's on this channel in the chat from time to time. He lives near Hayes City Store. He took me over there one time. Loved it. There are very few restaurants that once you go to, you immediately know they're just special. Hayes City Store is one of those places. It's scratch-made Texas comfort food. They've got their famous truck stop enchiladas, award-winning chicken fried steak, and their homemade desserts. All of it is absolutely delicious, all of it from scratch. They also have live music 6 nights a week with 50 beer taps, ice-cold long necks, and tasty margaritas. There are 11 TVs alone in their ice house, perfect for game days. They even have a brunch served from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. every single Sunday. Hayes City Store is dog-friendly, very important, and they have a tree net for kids. Join the folks at Hayes City Store and bring the whole crew. For more information, check out the website at Hayes City Store Texas, TX.com. Hayes City Store, it's uniquely Texas. Great place to watch games, guys. Great place. Good food, good music, just a really good vibe, and a great place to watch some college football.
Woo! I'm ready for the truck stop enchiladas. They don't have I tried some food last night. I got to tell you that Columbus is supposed to be a food city. I'm going to trust Hayes City's truck stop enchiladas over just about anything. So let's have at it. Next Friday, we'll be there, Jerry.
We'll be there.
More super chats this morning. This one from Jason. Thank you, Jason. Why is Ohio State so confident in their offensive line? Their projected tackle starters were awful last year, according to PFF. I think this is not being talked about enough.
I think that they're getting – having talked to not just Kevin here, but also Tim May and Bobby Carpenter and even some other people that I talked to close to that program, I think it's the relative experience that they gained in the playoffs and the success they had in the playoffs. Look, 4 of those guys that started, I think, or 3 of the guys that started national championship game are going to be playing on this offensive line on Saturday. And so it's the relative experience. And I just feel like they think they've got a good offensive unit with depth. So I can't tell you, like, I'm not an Ohio State insider by any stretch. And so I can't tell you all the whys, but it's very apparent that there's a lot of confidence overall in that Ohio State offensive line, whether that's just or unjust. I think we may find out a little bit on Saturday, because Texas certainly, particularly on the outside at edge, is going to challenge just about any team in the country.
Yeah, it's always interesting with offensive and defensive lines in fall camps. Is your offensive line looking really good because your defensive line is not what it was the year before? I mean, that's always the mix and match. We've heard this at Texas before, right? Oh, defensive line dominating the offensive line. That doesn't mean your offensive line's bad. You can
it's a zero-sum. Hey, Jerry, it's a zero-sum game.
Yeah, and so the coaches have a good idea of what they have on their offensive line at Ohio State, but they still got to see those guys go out there and do it. And are they going to be a cohesive unit? Are they going to have pre-snap penalties? Does Colin Simmons, even though Austin Silverand is very talented, does Colin Simmons affect him and he ends up with 3 penalties in that game, right? So there's just so many things that go into it. But here's the thing with Ohio State. They should be confident. They recruit top 5 classes every year, just like Texas does. These are 2 of the most 5 talented programs, maybe 2 of the most 3 or 4 talented programs in college football this year. They should be very confident if they trust their coaching staff and what they've done from evaluation and development standpoint. You should not be bad at any position. That doesn't mean you have to be great. I say this all the time about the offensive line. I think one of the misnomers out there is you have to be great on the offensive line to win a national championship. I don't agree with that. I think you have to be good. Clemson won 2 national championships with nobody drafted above the 3rd round, maybe even the 4th round on their offensive line. They didn't have they didn't have the most talented offensive line either time they won a national championship as opposed to the teams they faced to win the national championship. You can mask around offensive lines. The game's changed. Offenses have changed the game.
They had 2 really good quarterbacks. To Jerry's point, and I agree with him, they had 2 really good quarterbacks in Deshaun Watson and Trevor Lawrence, and they ran a chunk and dunk offense.
But more than that,
work anymore.
But more than that, they had NFL players, draft picks, 1st and 2nd rounders at every position.
Yeah.
Tight ends, wide receivers, running backs. They were all NFL players. So you just have to be good on the offensive line. You don't have to be great.
More super chats this morning. This one, from D Money Can't Get Money. Thank you, D Money. He says, "Happy birthday to me." Oh, happy birthday, D Money, and you, Bobby, plus others in the chat. I'll be turning 25 on the 30th, supporting the Horns in the nation's capital. Hook 'em. Well, happy early birthday as well to you.
Yeah, happy early birthday, and I hope that the 30th is celebratory for the Longhorns and in the Burton household as well. We have our first viewer here that came by. It's an old friend of mine that lives in Columbus here. But guys, look, we're here at Ohio Stadium. It's an awesome backdrop. What a gorgeous day. Appreciate everybody it's just a fun time to be ready for college football, man.
No doubt. And then Naaman Roberts with the super chat says, "Hey guys, these idiots need to get off Arch. Redshirt freshmen Manziel, Winston, and Burrow and Newton all had less experience and snaps than Arch. Year 3 and a great coach and players around him." Jerry?
I mean, I think the main thing with Arch is if he wasn't the betting favorite for the Heisman right now, the last first year starting quarterback to win the Heisman was Jameis Winston. So I just think, look, he's getting more, and we knew it was going to be this way. Anybody knew it was going to be this way that followed anything about him. He's getting more hype and build up than any college player in a while. And with that comes the build up, tear down, constant build up, tear down. It is what it is. But, look, it's probably unfair to Arch because he just wants to be him. He's the first one to say, "I haven't done anything yet. I need to go out here and prove it and go do something for all this hype." Now, what comes with that is the flip side of that is I'm going to be real always on the show. Well, yeah, but you're on Waymo. You got a new you got 4 massive NIL deals out there. Red Bull, Viore. So there's also, you're putting yourself out there in that regard more so than the other college football player right now, by the way, from an NIL perspective. So there's both sides of the discussion. But look, if Arch isn't, and I'm one that thinks Arch is going to have a little some ups and downs as he gains more experience, like any quarterback, especially guys that want to throw it down the field. You have to watch deep late and late middle, especially in games like this, because that's where turnovers happen. But I think there's going to be some ups and downs, like any young quarterback. But I expect Arch to be able to execute Steve Sarkisian's game plan, and I think that's maybe most important out of the gate for him. I think he's going to be able to execute the game plan. Does that mean play perfect football? No. But it's kind of like what Jason Day said about Julian Sand. What's the most important thing? Win. For a young quarterback, I mean, it's always win, but for a young quarterback especially, don't try to do too much. Go execute the game plan and win. And I think Arch is going to be able to do that.
And then we have a super chat, Jerry from Loba Bread. Loba Bread says, I watched the 2005 documentary again. The similarities between 05 and 25 are interesting. Let's see here. 05, 25 at Ohio State, ranked 2 spots above Ohio State, number 1 recruiting class as well.
Yeah, there's similarities there. I think that Ohio State, Texas teams that year were, I want to say this the right way, more talented in terms of experienced talent. I think, it would have been like Ohio State's team if the majority of those guys had come back to play this year's Texas game against Texas, if those guys hadn't all graduated. That game had 14 first-round picks that saw the field. And we'll see if this game has that many. I think there may be that many first-round picks or more total on the rosters, but I'm not sure how many of those guys are actually going to be factors in this game. I think that game had a little more talent, but there is a lot of similarity in this. The winner of that game, the winner of this game, obviously has a massive leg up in college football playoff seeding, assuming both teams get there. If the loser of this game has less margin for error, and in that game, the loser of that game had 0 margin for error, you needed help. So there is a difference. But the winner of this game obviously is in a great position with the full season ahead of him. The loser of this game has less margin for error, because what you don't want to be doing is sitting at 9-3 hoping you get in. You want to have at least 10 wins. And the loser of this game can realistically only lose 1 more and feel great about getting in the playoff.
Well, it looks like our second special guest of the day is Will Matthews. How we doing?
We're doing good. What's up? Hey, everybody. How y'all doing?
Hey, Will, you ready to join me, buddy? This is Ohio Stadium behind us.
Bro, I'm so excited. I cannot wait to join you. So I should be in midday tomorrow, and I'm not trying not to get too excited. Got a little time before I get there. But, yeah, let's go.
Hey, Will, just a full disclosure, you're welcome. If you get there midday tomorrow, you're welcome to come out to our happy hour tomorrow at Gresso's from 4 to 7 Eastern. A lot of Longhorn faithful have already RSVP. Please come on out.
Yeah.
We're going to have folks there at Gresso's. Hope you join us. We just had Kevin Noon on from Buckeye Huddle, Will, and we asked him, what his concerns were and what he thought the strengths of the Buckeyes were. I want to ask you the same thing from your viewpoint as a Texas analyst, sideline analyst for the Longhorn Radio Network. What are your thoughts as you look at it from the other angle?
Yeah, I think that's a really great question. I mean, and it's really the obvious things. When you lose 4 starters on the line to the NFL and other places, the guys are all over the place right now. And you've got to bring in, even though I would say that this group is maybe a bit more talented, their feet are a little bit quicker. The way they move is a little bit more deliberate. You still have to have the cohesiveness as a unit together. And on defense, the thing is you can have one guy focused and in the right place. They can make the tackle and make the play. And you can have 10 other guys running around not knowing what's going on. Offense, you have to have 11 guys moving in one direction. And so that the O-line is a place where I'm looking forward to seeing their maturity and their connectivity. I mean, when you lose people up front on the defensive side, even though we've got some really great guys, Cole Bavard and January and Hero Canoe, and there's a whole lot of people up there. But when you lose that caliber of talent, first day caliber, you've got to make that up. And so even on the defensive side in the secondary, when you're looking at Makuba going up to Philadelphia, way to go, bro, with that interception to the house. And the Thorpe winner, Jade, like half of your interceptions that are in the NFL right now. So those 3 things, I think, is a great opportunity for Texas to show their growth and off-season development. But I'm going to need to see something from those 3 areas.
You mentioned half the interceptions gone to the NFL. 35 sacks of Ohio State's are gone to the NFL. And so they've got a new is the pass rush the X factor for Texas potentially in this game?
Well, I mean, I was with Colin Simmons on Monday, and good Lord, that guy has even matured, and his mental. I mean, of course, like we all know that he is exceptional talent on the field, but his focus and attention to detail, and we talked for just a couple of minutes just about what he was doing between the years, and if that translates on the field, we literally have the best pass rusher in the country surrounded by a host of other people who will get after you. And you know what? And we've talked about this before, is Colin is going to eat. But who I want to see Trey Moore. That's where I want to see. Anthony Hill's going to get his. Like, that's it. But if Trey Moore is clicking on all cylinders, whether that linebacker on the edge or whatever he needs to do to bring that extra edge, I think that's where Texas will be able to pick up the slack and cut into the margin over there at Ohio State.
Hey, Will, I was going to bring that up. You've been interviewing some players. Tell people who you've interviewed and kind of what were some of your takeaways.
Yep. So this first week, I got together with a number of guys: Michael Taff, C.J. Baxter, Malik Muhammad, Quintravion Wisner, and just the B City, and Colin Simmons as well. And what I got from them is they're really a reflection of the energy that Sark is putting out. At the presser, I'm sitting there, I'm getting coffee, and Sark walks by. He's like, "What's up, Will?" And you can just tell that there's a little bit of difference here. He knows this game is huge. He knows what's at stake here, and the whole team does. But they're confident and comfortable, and just sitting with the guys. I mean, from Colin to Wisner to Muhammad, they were all just like, you know what? We're ready for this challenge. No matter what happens, we've got a long season. They've got perspective. They've got focus, and they're ready to fight. I can't wait. This is the process is it's over now. The die is cast, and it's time to go and put it on the field. And these are the type of guys who aren't going to hold anything back, even though this is week one.
Well, we also mentioned here at On Texas Football, kind of breaking the news yesterday, that Connor Stroh looks like he may be moving into that first group on the offensive line, maybe unseating Nato Umeozulu. Your thoughts about late moves like this prior to a big game? Jerry and I talked about it during the pre-broadcast, and then a little bit on air as well. I just feel like it's the result of a camp. You know, you have fall camp and spring camp to decide who's going to start, and if Connor Stroh won that job, he won it fair and square. You know what I mean? What is your takeaway of a late move like that?
You know, it's really an embarrassment of riches, really, because we're talking about the cream of the crop fighting to be the cream of the crop. And so with him going and taking that role, congrats to him, moving into a more substantial role. But what that does is you got two guys who have trained together, who have fought for a position, who, if anybody gets nicked and bruised, you've got two starters. I think that is the biggest story that comes out of this. And really the spring gives you the opportunity to compete in the fall. What you do in the spring is you get your butt ready, you bust it, you're where you're supposed to be. You are the Jordan Whittington kind of person. I'll do whatever I need to. And then in the fall is where you gain the ground. And that's where you got to take your position in football. I tell everybody, it's not a gift. You have got to take it. And kudos to Stroh and kudos to the whole line and being a place where there's great competition, because that's the only way to get to the next level here.
Hey, Will, what are your keys for Texas to come out of Columbus with a victory?
So I think number one, we're not a training little offense. And I think they've got to go into it, even though there's going to be, and we talked about this just a couple of minutes ago, there's got to be some cohesiveness on the line up front. If you don't protect Arch, it's all for naught. Yeah. But they've got to go into this as if they're a big-time offense. The training wheels are off. Arch has been in an offense and has inherited an offense that he's running. And that is so different than Julian saying. Julian this spring has fought for a position, and now he's earned the locker room. Now, there's a lot of respect in that, but there's a difference than driving the ship and are trying to get in the ship so that you can be the driver. And so I really feel like that offense coming out with a focus and letting Arch do what he does, and that means, the deep ball, baby. Let's go. I really think that will be the difference. Number two, the guys like we've been talking about all fall: Parker Livingstone, Leongala Fowl, Trey Moore, Connor Stroh. These guys who going into the season don't have the big name, and they're going to get an opportunity to show exactly who they are. If we can get that person to play at the highest level, it's going to be hard for Texas to beat. And then, you know what? On the defensive side, let the big dogs eat. Find a way to get Colin Simmons, Anthony Hill. If you got to line him up at free safety, I don't care. I tell you, and I'm super excited to see what Coach Akina does, because he's going to put the right guys on the field, no matter who that is. I'm excited to see Grayson Littleton do his thing. We've heard a lot of great things about that young buck. And if we can get those guys, the guys without the big names, to show up and really do some stuff, Texas is going to be really hard to beat.
Will, thank you so much, buddy, and safe travels. Hope I see you tomorrow at the happy hour, buddy.
See you soon.
All right, hook 'em horns, bud. Take care of yourself. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks, Will.
Will Matthews of the Longhorn Sports Network does the radio sideline for the Longhorns on game day. Appreciate him very much. Also does the post-game show as well from the locker room. So appreciate him. He's going to be on with us each and every Thursday during football season for about 10, 15 minutes. So appreciate him very much. Blake, what do we got next, buddy?
Well, up next, we're going to let Jerry tell us
let's talk about Chubbies. Let's talk about Chubbies, but we're talking about shorts here. Are you ready for some football? If you're not, Chubbies is ready to help you with their NFL collection. Whether you're tailgating, grilling, or riding the highs and lows of the game from your couch, Chubbies has the officially licensed NFL gear to keep you looking like the ultimate fanatic. With bold designs featuring your favorite NFL teams, Chubbies game day gear isn't just comfortable, it's a statement. Rep your team's logos in wildly comfortable polos, wave-making swim trunks, gym-ready mesh shorts. Yeah, you heard that right. Swim trunks with your favorite NFL team's logo on them. Cowboys fans, this is for you. All the comfort and swagger you need to take on every touchdown dance, chest bump, or dramatic fourth quarter meltdown. If you're not a jersey guy, this is an elite alternative. Elite, I like the word, good term there. If you're a jersey fanatic, something tells me you'll love their NFL collection, because when you're invested in the game, your outfit should be too. For a limited time, use our exclusive code ONTEXAS for $10 off at chubbiesshorts.com/ONTEXAS. Yes, that includes the NFL collection. The thighs of Texas are upon you. Let the good times roll.
The thighs of Texas, baby.
Oh, man. All right. I need to tell everyone about Prize Picks as well. And we make decisions every day, but on Prize Picks, being right can get you paid. And with football now here, it's time to make that money. Prize Picks is simple to play. You just pick more or less on 2 to 6 player stat projections. If you get your picks right, you can cash in and win up to 2,000 times your money. It's the best way to get in on sports action in more than 40 states, including California, Florida, Georgia, and of course, right here in Texas. Prize Picks has the NFL, but they also have college football as well. This weekend, I'm taking Trey Wisner to score a touchdown, DeAndre Moore to have more than 19.5 receiving yards, and Julian Sayin to throw an interception. So come join me on those picks, or make your own in less than 60 seconds and turn your sports opinions into real money. Download the Prize Picks app today. Use code ONTEXAS, and you're going to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code ONTEXAS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. And that's Prize Picks. Run your game. Well, we have more super chats to get into this morning. Let's take this one here from Bean. Thank you, Bean. He says, wouldn't Neto, Stroh, Cole, DJ, and Baker be your best 5?
Not if Trevor Gooseby's good to go, which he has. Sark said he expects him to be. No, Gooseby's your best.
And let's see here. We have a super chat from UT Tyler Guy. UT Tyler Guy, thank you so much. Says, what color pencil will Patricia have on his ear? Not sure a yellow or maize pencil will fly. Ohio State officials have banned maize pencils from the stadium.
Wow. That's a good question. Does he change the game in college? I mean, does he change it up finally?
Hey, I know what he's going to have. He's going to have a number 2 pencil because they're number 2.
Ah,
Yeah. Texas is number
I
1.
like it.
And then Antonio Harris with the super chat. Thank you, Antonio. 2 things: win the coin toss, run the football, hook 'em.
Antonio, does Texas actually Sark call a run play the first play of the game? The first play Texas has the ball, does he call a run play? Because percentages say no, but that's going to be interesting. Do you just – and here's the other thing I'm watching for. Is Texas' first play on offense under center with Arch Manning, or is he in the gun? That's going to be very interesting to see for me.
Look, we did state of the program yesterday, Jerry, with Rod Babers, and Rod brought up just some great points about Sark's proclivity on early season big games. Now, I'm not talking about when they play Rice.
Yeah.
But when they played Alabama for those 2 consecutive years and then played Michigan a year ago, Sark did not come out and play it close to the vest. I mean, he threw a deep ball on the 3rd play of the game against Michigan last year, connected with Isaiah Bond. So he did not. I mean, while we think, let's come out and let our new quarterback get the feel of the game. Well, think back to Quinn Ewers' first start against Alabama in Austin. Quinn Ewers was throwing the ball all over the yard until he got injured at the end of the first quarter. So I think, frankly, Rod may be a little onto something about how Sark likes to approach these big early season non-conference games.
Hey, on that super chat we just had about starting the offensive line, if Gooseby he came back and said if Gooseby can't go. If Gooseby can't go, I'm not sure Brandon Baker doesn't start at left tackle.
I think that's what we think right now.
Yeah.
If Gooseby can't go, it would be Baker, and then there's some other. We don't want to really get into it, but I think I know who would be the right tackle. It might be a little surprise to folks.
We have a super chat from Paul. Thank you, Paul. What advantage does Texas have that you think we can exploit against Ohio State? I love the show and appreciate all y'all do. Hook 'em.
You know, based on Kevin Noon, what he said, and kind of some of the chatter behind the scenes, you know, Texas better be able to run the ball on the interior a little bit from guard, center, guard in this game. If they can't, against an Ohio State defensive line, which Kevin Noon, these guys who have covered him a long time, said depth is an issue for potential issue. It's unsure what they have. And I'm thinking long-term this season, if Texas isn't effective running the ball, guard, center, guard against Ohio State, who may be a little light in terms of experience and depth on the defensive line, I'm not sure that bodes well for later in the season against some really talented defensive fronts. They better be able to have some success inside.
You're going to see talented defensive fronts in the SEC to Jeff's point later in the year. I would say this, Ohio State feels really confident about its secondary, probably should, but Daniel Igbinosun had some penalty problems last year. Let's see if those continue into this year. I would also say that a strength for Longhorns, and this is, I think it has to be the edge room at Texas. They have to be able to get to Julian Sayin, who is a young quarterback. If you can get in there and rattle him just enough, some big plays can happen for the Longhorns.
All right, so then our next one from B here. Thank you, B. Hi, guys. What will be the driver of change on the offense? Will it be Sark adjusting the system for Arch or Arch elevating the current offense?
Bobby and I think are going to be different on this. I think early in the season, it's going to be Sark adjusting his system, not really adjusting for Arch. But I think it's more of what Sark and Arch together like to do. And I think they're very much on the same page in that. Like, I think it's down the field, vertical passing game, not necessarily vertical. That may be the wrong term. Down the field passing game. I think in this game, I think you're going to see a lot of boundary throws, whether that's corner routes schemed up, whether that's some back shoulder balls to Wingo, see if they can get in Buxton a penalty, right? I think you're going to see more safer throws at times for Arch in this environment, depending on how the game's going, depending on if Ohio State can get pressure. But I think you're going to see a little bit of that. But I think as the season moves along, it has a chance to be Arch elevating the Texas offense more so. I think right now it's early in Arch's starting career. It's going to be Sark adjusting to Arch, because I think one thing is every blade of grass on the field is open season for Sark in the passing game with Arch. But I do think there's going to be – I don't think he's just going to let Arch be in positions where he's ripping it late down the middle and making deep middle throws. He knows those are not winners for young quarterbacks. I think you're going to see Sark adjust for Arch early, and I think as Arch gets more experience, you're going to see Arch elevate the offense in the way he plays.
Jerry, I think I agree with most of what you said. I think the only addition I would make is actually you're going to see more deep digs from Sark and from Arch Manning because of he's a harder thrower than Quinn. Deep digs were not Quinn's game because Quinn was threw a little bit of a floater, right? He feathered the ball. And so I think that you'll see a little bit more of that, and thusly it may open up even the deeper routes. And that is a real combination that is tough to beat from a quarterback. If he can throw the deep dig and throw the deep ball with precision, that's a lot of weight on that cornerback. It just really is. And so hopefully that's what we see more of.
Our next super chat here from Brian. Thanks, Brian. Will Livingston and Indries make big plays?
Woo! Hope so. I think they're poised to. But this is a game such that you just don't know. I mean, if you ask me, are they going to make big plays against San Jose State? I would give you probably bet on both of them making big plays against a team that doesn't necessarily have the skill level or overall talent level of an Ohio State. The margins in games like this just become so close and so narrow. You just don't know. I hope they do. Indries is someone that we probably haven't talked enough about here at Texas since he joined the squad from Cal. But, one of the subplots of this game is the tight end room. Ohio State very tickled, apparently, with their transfer tight end, Max Clare from Purdue. Texas, I know, very tickled with their tight end transfer and Jack Indries. But also you got to remember, Spencer Shannon probably going to start in the 12 personnel, 2 tight end offense. Don't forget about Jordan Washington. I heard he's had some nice practices to close up camp as well. He's may be a bigger threat than all of them with the ball in his hands.
I think one thing that'll be interesting with this game, Bobby Petronic said, Ohio State limited Helm. I really believe Ohio State's going to try to limit injuries as much as possible and make Texas win one-on-ones at wide receiver. Win one-on-ones. And that doesn't mean without help. But I'm just saying they're going to force Texas to win and see if they can win against the Ohio State corners in secondary.
Well, let's see here. One other one from Randy Cole. Good morning, OTF. If Arch's game line is 23 out of 30, 1 interception, 2 touchdowns for 225 yards, do the Horns win?
That's V for victory.
Look, you would need another touchdown, I think. But if he can get Texas there twice, I don't think 17 points is going to win the game. I don't think it's going to be 17-14, that low scoring.
24
Texas
wins it though, Jerry.
I think 24 has a chance to win it. Yes, I'm picking 24 to win it. But you're going to need 3 touchdowns offensively, I think, in this game, unless you get one on defense. I don't think just 2 offensive touchdowns wins it. But
that's just Arch's
23 at 30, and has 1 turnover and has 2 touchdowns. I think Sark would take that and walk away right now.
Well, I would. I don't know about Sark, but I definitely would.
All right, Bobby, tell us one last time about Adam Lowy and the Lowy Law Firm.
Yeah, absolutely. Our friend over at Lowy Law Firm, Adam Lowy, has been helping injured Texans for the past 20 years. Texas Law School grad himself. Adam says if you've been injured in a car wreck, truck wreck, automobile accident of any kind from ATV to 18-wheeler and think you might be due compensation, make sure you reach out to Adam and his group at loweylawfirm.com to see if you for a free, no strings attached consultation. Again, that is loweylawfirm.com. Adam, appreciate you very much, bud, for sponsoring On Texas Football.
And one last time, I want to run down the game day schedule for Saturday. We got you covered all morning long, and then, of course, after the game as well. But it starts with Saturday Conversation, brought to you by Tito's. That begins at 7 a.m. The pregame tailgate, sponsored by South Point Dodge, starts at 9. Of course, we'll have the Vaughn Lane Watch with us at 11 a.m., and then the live post game will be immediately following the game, brought to you by Yingling Flight. So we want to thank all of them, but be sure to tune in with us all Saturday right here on Texas.
And that watch with us, hosted by Aaron Hogan, myself, I'll be on there. Rod Babers will be on there for a quarter. Bob Shipley for a quarter. Jeff Howell for a quarter. I'll probably be on there 2 quarters, but that'll be your watch with us. Ohio State fans, if you're not at the game, come join the watch with us.
Hey, some other programming notes just so everybody has them before we get – I know you got some other stuff you got to get to, but tonight Marcus Myers makes his debut on the live stream. He will be here in Columbus doing that. And then tomorrow we'll have our Monday morning live stream as normal. And then we'll have the happy hour out at Gresso's. I'll be on there for a little bit. Marcus will be on there probably with me for a little bit as well. But hopefully you guys can come out and just hang out from 4 to 7 at Gresso's if you're in town in Columbus. If not, you're free. It's just watch it at the house if you want to, wherever you listen to podcasts or view them. I also want to say that we picked up a new sponsor on Fridays as well. That's Garage Beer. They're going to be joining guys like the University Co-op as well as 40 Acres Collection. I am wearing, people have asked me in this chat before where this is from. This is actually from 40 Acres Collection that you can get at the Co-op. It is ideal for this weather. It's now in the mid 60s, by the way. I just checked the thermometer. It's going to be gorgeous football weather on Saturday, guys. Absolutely stunning, in my opinion.
And I want to, go ahead. Go ahead, Blake.
Jeff Davis on Super Chat says, I see the Texas defense showing a lot of exotic packages and sending the house. Can't let someone making their first game start 100%. Or their first start get comfortable.
100% agree, Jeff Davis. And the key to being able to pull that off is first down run defense. If Texas wins on first downs on defense, that's not – Ryan Day said it. I mean, Ryan Day came out and said it in the press conference. We have to run the football and stop the run to win this game. He knows it. He knows Texas pass rush is legit. He knows he has to win on first downs, and they have to stay ahead of the chains. First down defense is the key for Texas Saturday.
And we will
said it better.
Close with this question from Christopher Weatherford. Christopher says, who's the next 2 wide receivers we anticipate being in the circle this weekend with Mosley being out? And do y'all have any concerns with the young guys?
I think obviously Parker Livingstone is the third.
He is in that circle already.
Yeah, with Wingo and DeAndre Moore. And who is the next guy up depends on who's in the game and who's not. I mean, Dalen McCutcheon plays behind DeAndre Moore, right? So that kind of is dependent. If DeAndre Moore had to leave the game or was out for a series, it's going to be Dalen McCutcheon more than likely, unless they move Wingo to the slot or in 12 or in two wides 12 personnel, and then it's Wingo and Parker Livingstone. If one of the outside receivers is out, it's probably Lockett right now. So that's probably where it's at headed into Columbus.
And I will say that McCutcheon has been working at more than just slot of late. And Lockett has been working almost exclusively on the outside, to Jerry's point. Yeah, those two are ahead of French and Michael Terry right now as early Bucks, trying to make a impact.
All right, y'all. That's going to do it for today's episode of Coffee and Football, presented by Adam Lowy and the Lowy Law Firm. Of course, we want to thank Adam, along with Chubby's Prize Picks, Mint, and Hayes City Store for sponsoring today's show. Don't forget that we can't be on here all the time, but you can head on over to ontexasfootball.com. Use promo code OTFOG when you sign up. and you'll get a full year for just $39.95. Come join the best Longhorns community around. Again, that's promo code OTFOG for new subscribers only to lock in that full year for just $39.95. And Bobby, what you got for people later today?
We've got live stream we mentioned tonight. We've got a couple other videos. Football theories coming out. Rod's got some breakdown of what he thinks may happen a little bit from an X's and O's strategy today. And then I'm also going to talk a little bit about what's different with this Texas team and this Ohio State team from a year ago, and try to talk a little bit more about why we think this game could be a little bit different than what happened in the Cotton Bowl, or a lot different, hopefully, in so many ways. Also, I want to say one last thing. 49 and a half hours. This is where it's going to be, guys. Right there. So, love it.
It's hard to believe that it's here, for sure. Well, we will be back same time, same place tomorrow. Hope you all have a phenomenal day today. So for Bobby Burton and Jerry Hamilton, I'm Blake Monroe, and we'll see you tomorrow morning.